Hi, guys. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you here. So, for some of you, we are spending every day. So, welcome, Stuart. For some others, it's nice to have you here, Anthos. Let's go around and maybe we introduce ourselves. Let's start with Rodula.
Sure. I'm Radula. I'm with the company for a little bit less than 2 years, and I'm the group HR manager in Cyprus.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alejandro again. I'm Stuart Bankier. So, been with the company only 18 months now. So, it's a very new journey for me, and everything is very fast moving and exciting. So, yeah.
And I'm Anthos. I'm a guest here. I'm a partner with FranklinCovey. We work together on this leadership development program, and it's nice to see people that we've worked with the last year or so, and in a very casual mood, like a podcast. Plan that.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Mihailidou. I'm the global head of HR. I'm very glad I'm here with you today.
Thank you, Sabrini. Well, my name is Alejandro Husniani. I have been in the company for 9 years, and my position currently is Senior Training Manager.
We help companies create behavioral change, and especially at scale. And that's how we design these programs. But I think we'll get into that more as the conversation develops.
Yeah, well, I think it's a great initiative. It's certainly a topic where we can all learn something. And certainly, I think, in a big organization like Columbia Group, I'm sure it's something that we can all benefit from. And
What's interesting is we've got participants from all three teams. So, Stuart, you're in the senior management team, like the directors team. So you can share some of that experience.
It is very interesting. I mean, personally, I'm interested and have been involved in leadership throughout my whole career, to be honest. Of course, from my 27 years in the military, it was bread and butter for day to day. But at this stage in my career, the latter stages, fortunately, but it's taught me that we can all really still learn something, and it made me stop and think again, and said, actually, I never thought that I knew everything, of course, but it made me think that I don't know many things yet, and we can all benefit from it, reflect on it, and so, okay, take stock, have a think about that, and reset a little bit. And it makes you think about other people, I think, not just yourself. You kind of take those thoughts, those conversations that Anthos and I had, take those thoughts and say, okay, how does it apply to me? But what about the team? What about people? And you mentioned earlier about how does the digital environment come into play with influencing and leadership? How do you get the message across to a team who are in Manila, for example? And it just makes you really think about that. And I think it's very interesting.
It's a nice point, actually, because that's one of the objectives that we have for the program is get leaders thinking. So how is the experience of being led by me? Okay, and reflecting on that and looking at that from my team members' point of view rather than just the way I see things. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think we need to be engaged in the topic. I did hear not that long ago that people who are engaged in the topic, who are interested in leadership, who read about leadership, generally benefit more if you kind of keep it distant and never really think about it. I think we all have a little bit of thought that we need in every part of our daily lives, whether at work or around at home and family and things. So leadership is kind of everywhere, I think, to be honest.
But is this program any different from the others you had before?
No, I think what you've been, I think, preaching, Anthos, in what I've taken a little bit from it is we must apply it to what we do day to day in the workplace or in your lives. So it has to be an applied, practical outcome. There's a lot, of course, around theoretical, academic information, but at the end of the day, leadership is about doing and influencing and delivering and being engaged and communicating. So we have to think about those kind of situations where you can go, what have I just learned? How can I actually play it out in my day-to-day life? That's what one of the things I'm taking away from it, or to be reminded, I think, Stavrini. And that was pretty much part of the kind of military style of leadership, very action orientated, task team individual style, from the old John Adair principle, where you would practice a task that allowed you to demonstrate your leadership qualities, and then we would refine it and whatever. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that Stavrini mentioned when we first met, that we don't just want to give people access to great content. We want to help them or support them put the new ideas into actions. So that's really important.
And the most difficult thing for me is actually implement what you have learned when you're under pressure, because you always go back to your old ways. So for me, this is a challenge, basically.
That's one of the challenge I'm facing. Like, we do the things in the lessons, and then once you go back to work, you have to keep that momentum going. Just make it a habit of using those techniques and tools that we've learned and putting it in action. So it does take time for you to, get used to it and putting it in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, habit's a good word, I think. Anthos, isn't it? From a FranklinCovey point of view, but habits, but it is a good word. And the more habits you have in those positive ways, the more it becomes instinctive and natural. Yeah.
At the same time, it is one of the biggest challenges organizations face. How do we create behavioral change, lasting behavioral change? So that I think the lasting part is what you're referring to, Rodula. I don't know, Alejandro, you're part of the management team, so slightly different experience to the way we designed the program for the senior management team. So, how about your take on how things are?
I really like the importance we have given to the personal connection with our employees. I believe that this empathy that we create with our colleagues is the most important. And so far, implementing, as mentioned by Rodula, these one-on-one meetings, for example, where we can hear the feedback from our colleagues and really evaluate how I'm doing as a manager is critical in the improvement. Is going beyond the KPIs, is going beyond the objectives, is knowing that person, is understanding that they have also a personal life, that they have struggles, and we are all in the same way, fighting to achieve every day the best results. So we need to also take this in consideration to be really empathetic with our colleagues.
Yeah, but again, one of the program objectives for the management team to look at their team members as whole people, as we like to call them. So,
and what Alejandro said one point is listening. One of the highlights for me from the course was like, you have to actively listen, not just hear, listen, understand, ask the right questions, and this will help our peers, our colleagues to develop as well from their side.
And in that part, you have, in your case, for example, Rodula, you have double challenge because you are a manager, but at the same time you are handling or receiving information or giving information to more than 700 employees. So how do you manage to handle your role as a manager, but also your role as your current position with all the employees?
So it's the same thing. Even if you're a manager or you're working with those 700 people, they're all part of our peers, they're all colleagues. They all need the same attention from us as an HR department. And one of the most important things for us is employee retention and development, especially with the FranklinCovey course. So what we want to do is enhance the knowledge of our employees and trying to ask the right questions in order for them to give the right answers back. So it's not part of us giving a solution always, both as a manager and as an HR representative, but making those individuals answer their own queries, concerns via the right way of doing it. And as you said, with the one-on-ones, asking the right questions makes all the difference.
But actually, what you said, Alejandro, listening is a great skill.
That's for me.
You can be a
good
listener, you know, but you have to concentrate to do that. You can't just expect it to happen. And I learned that a little bit through my interview skills training from various you know, providers we've used over the years. You know, active listening is a really good skill to have. You know, and
And I think as managers, we usually are in a position, we always try to solve the problem, and we always try to, you know, give the solution in the plate, let's say. But in order for us to be able to develop our colleagues is, again, asking the right questions and empowering them, making them feel secure in the company that we have, and they have to speak up. So it's always one of the challenges I think we're facing.
One of the biggest challenges for people at that role, like you are, Rodula, you know, having to be both a player and a coach. So how do I balance these two roles? For sure.
Coaching is a good word. You know, brings into my mind, of course, our department, Alejandro, you know, training, or as we're about to become learning and development department. But we have to train for it. We, you know, and again, one of the big lessons I've learned throughout my whole career and my life is that you can change, but you have to train for it. You have to train yourself into either a behavior, or train as a coach in a sports team, or train in leadership. You know, you really have to actively set about identifying what you want to do, what you want to change, and then having a bit of a strategy behind it. It's the same with leadership. You know, we have to train ourselves to be. And some people say, "Oh, you can't be trained. Leadership's a natural thing." No, I totally disagree. Leadership is a, you know, is a skill that we can train for and get better at. So, and my life training to get the end result is, you know, the basics.
And as you train, you mature also. So it comes more naturally. I mean, in terms of the leadership part, because as you mature, you understand better the other side. I mean, you can look at the other side better.
And in your case, Stuart, like the strategy, as you said, it also incorporates the unlearning part. It's not just the learning part, because you've got, you know, experiences that might not be 100% applicable today, and that's the skill of the future. How do I unlearn and then learn new things to create space for all that new learning? So,
experience and making mistakes, and hopefully you do learn, not maybe everything, but you learn maybe the important things or key things. And I mean, another big part of my life was sport, team sport, and so it's a huge amount to be learned there about leadership and coaching and mentoring, and when to jump in and when not to jump in, and listening to what the team are saying, you know, and things like that, and being able to adapt and adjust. And there's a time for being strong, and there's a time for being receptive or understanding or having empathy, and a time for having to be very positive or, you know, pointing out the mistakes. So, you know, life is like, a big leadership game every day, I think.
But we haven't explained how the program goes. I think it's important at this stage. So we have 3 groups, one for our talents, younger, more junior people, one for our line managers, so people that manage teams, and one for our senior management team, or like the more senior group. And every group has its own, let's say, objectives and agenda. And you can also expand on this a little bit.
Obviously, at the individual level, you know, what we want is individuals, that people that do not have direct reports, want to instill habits of effectiveness. That's why the program includes modules like the social emotional part and the productivity, you know, with the 7 habits of highly effective people. And also we have different weights on, how much coaching and how much technology is being used, and talent team, I would say typically younger people, a lot more comfortable with technology. So we're using our platform a lot more, our app a lot more. So, the weight there of the technology is a bigger part in comparison to other groups. Obviously, the managers at the manager level, it's all about the leadership and providing that experience, really connecting with your team members and leading change and leading initiatives around that. And with the senior management team, then that takes again, the weights are a little bit different, very knowledgeable people, we have, it's a lot more one-on-one, there's more weight on the one-on-ones, and we're using psychometric assessments as well at that level to individualize it a little bit. So there's customizations at different levels, obviously in the design, as Stavrini mentioned, and then taking off-the-shelf solutions and customizing them for the shipping industry, or and all the other relevant industries that the Columbia Group operates in, and also in customizations at that level with the use of psychometrics, so it becomes unique for each of the members of that team, the senior management team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also an important question here is how Columbia, decided to create this collaboration together with FranklinCovey. So from the HR point of view, Stavrini, what makes this collaboration special?
Well, we were looking to find a partner where we could combine many things. So, technology, the knowledge to run very good leadership programs, the global also side, because we have many employees working from various locations. So, we're looking for a provider that could provide everything. And then we met Anthos, and we had a great first conversation with Mark as well. And we decided to go with FranklinCovey for all these reasons.
On our end, it's okay. Obviously, as a company, what Stavrini spot on, like our formula for success includes three things. One is the people, so expert facilitators that can actually facilitate these workshops and design the right programs and customize it for your own needs, exactly. And then the second one is the content. Obviously, we've been around for like a top leadership training company for more than 35 years, so great content. And the technology, that definitely, mostly in the support, what you said earlier, the supporting people in actually implementing what they've learned, and that maybe from a workshop environment to the daily workplace, that transfer of knowledge. On us, yes, it was a great first meeting. When connected, we understood what the CEO wants, what his vision is for this program, and what the HR wants, the global element as well. And at the same time, a couple of things I would ask, maybe a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. The challenge being Columbia as a group being global and very large, but at the time when we met, maybe not having a learning culture at that point, and it takes a while because of the size of their organization. So that's the challenge, but that's also where the opportunity lies. With there was a lot of scope to try things, and kudos to you for generating the budgets and being very intentional in
I think
this.
What's still quite interesting is a little bit what you've said, Anthos, but it's understanding the gap, isn't it? And trying to really understand what it is. I mean, we have a big organization, a global organization, so we need probably quite a lot of different solutions. So understanding those gaps around and trying to put together a program, I think is quite challenging, because no one size is going to fit all. So you have to be quite specific. But another thing that I've kind of learned, I guess, is that leadership's quite a complicated subject sometimes. It's many different definitions of what people perceive leadership to be. And that's one of the issues. And we're not all on the same page in terms of what we all think leadership means. And I'd certainly face that in trying to develop the Seafarers Leadership Program, as well as around the table. So it's really interesting to, what is missing? What is the real area? Because we need to know that in order to apply the right tools and, traits and behaviors and skills that we're getting from Anthos.
Yeah. Talking about leadership, for example, if we go, Rodula, for you mentioned being a good listener is an important. What other skills you consider also is a good way how you can become a good leader?
For me, other than the listening part that you said, as you said, you have to be trusted by your team and be able to empower your team, hear them out. What do they want? What ideas they have?
Yes.
And when peers trust you, it all comes more naturally on the table. They don't feel the fear to come and speak to you. So for me, that's one of the most important things. And of course, supporting them in whatever they want to do and guiding them with the right questions and developing your team. Because in my opinion, if you do have a strong team, then you also have to gain from that.
Yes.
So 100%. If we develop as managers, we take that, we carry that on to our team, and then we become even stronger.
And that's the real purpose of a leader, to develop their teams and in a way make themselves obsolete. It's a bit of a paradox, but that's
yes.
what it is.
I mean, it's a bit. It depends on your leadership style, as we said. But I mean, for me, having a strong team, being one, it's the most important thing. Even though if you might be obsolete, as you said.
And it also takes time because you need to know individuals and understand how you can approach them. It's not the same way. Maybe one-on-one works for one, but not for the others.
Yes.
So this is also, I think, the kind of understanding. Talking about cultures, Anthos, what can you share with us how this program has been customized to reach different cultures in our organization?
Okay. Well, interesting question. Talking about culture, let's all agree what we're talking about. So, the way people behave, it's about behaviors. So, if you can create behavioral change, then you can create the culture change, and then you can transform your results. So, when we're talking about culture, we're really talking about behaviors, and it was a learning curve for us as well, because as a group, you've got people in different areas. Maybe people in Asia will respond slightly differently so we were learning from you as well along the way, from people like Eastern versus Western, and maybe more people in Germany and people in Greece and people in Cyprus. You have to the content is there, it's the same, but the way it's being delivered.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great word.
I was going to ask you,
and the way it's being and the way it's been implemented in different regions, I think that was something that we have learned from you, and we're very grateful as well for that experience and that opportunity.
But for me, this is the most important thing, that we could improvise as we go along based on the feedback we receive from people. It's the most important thing.
One word which you mentioned jumped straight out at me there when you said trust. Which is a really important word to understand in the context of leadership. And of course, FranklinCovey feature that, don't you, with your speed of trust concept. But it's really important, really important within teams, how we build it, how we communicate to get it, how we maintain it, how it influences so many things that we do, from simple one-to-one working relationships to what information we exchange. And, it's really, really kind of baseline requirement, isn't it, in this area?
And also inspiration. It's
Yes.
very important to give this, purpose to people to be inspired by you and come to work with this mindset of being inspired to do something
Yeah.
every day. Do you want to mention your takeaways so far from the program?
Okay, I will start. I think that as I mentioned before, I learned how to know your people. Okay, how to get in contact with your colleagues and understand and be more empathetic. Sorry, I think this is my best takeaway from the program. And I'm very grateful to be also part of the FranklinCovey program.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be part of the program. Like I said in the beginning, we've all got something to learn, and certainly that's a reminder for me. But one of the takeaways I think is the kind of mentoring and coaching side, which I think we've talked about, Anthos. It's important that we somehow share our experiences in business and in life with the people around us, and because we never quite know what I never quite understand exactly what you think until I share something and impart something or offer some information or benefit of something I've done, you know, and I won't know the benefit of that until I've shared it and you respond and we engage that way. So mentoring and coaching, I think, is super important, which I don't think we do enough of, to be honest. We think it just happens, but actually you've also got to make it happen as well, I think. So that's my takeaway, mentoring.
I'm also honored for being part of this program. For me, the most important thing is take a step back and listen.
Mm-hmm. From your point of view, Anthos?
I thought that was covered, but I will. I'll tell you what my takeaway is, and I think it relates to what Stuart just said, and also I'm going to tie it to what Stavrini said earlier, that she really appreciates the fact that on a constant basis we review what we've done the last quarter, what worked, and we adjust it, and then while you were sharing the importance of actually sharing your own experiences, I think maybe going forward, and that's going to be my takeaway, we include more experience sharing sessions between each team and learn from each other and be each other's coaches. So coach each other. I think that would be great going forward. So that's my takeaway, Stuart. So again, thank you very much for inviting me. I really, really enjoyed being a guest on your show and this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for arranging it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, it was. It was an experience.
Columbia Group Unplugged.
Yeah.